What's going on, guys? Alex with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the WE Knives Esprit. So you guys are probably familiar with the Esprit. It's been around for a little bit of time now. It is a pretty popular design, I believe, from WE, and it is designed by none other than Ray Laconico. And I think this is the first Laconico design I've ever handled. I don't know if he has a lot of different OEM projects going on. He has some designs with WE. He has some designs with Artisan. He has some designs with now Civivi, with the Sikoki, CGRB. A lot of different designs with a lot of different companies. There's actually one coming out with CGRB pretty soon, I think this spring sometime, called the, I think it's the Echo. It's a budget model designed off of his one custom. It looks really, really cool. And I also want to get my hands on the Sikoki sometime, the new one that just came out with Civivi that I've heard really good things about. It's basically a budget model of this. But yeah, Ray is a really fantastic designer. He is half of Monterey Bay Knives, him and Sanford Owen. So I've had a couple of those, I guess, in before. I've had the Slayback, and I've had the Mini Old Guard 2 different times. So I've had a few of his designs. I really like his design language. It's kind of, I don't want this to come off in like a rude way, but it's just kind of, not boring, but just like simple. But for me, I like simple designs. I like simple, utilitarian, just simplistic designs. And I think Ray does a great job at that. A lot of his designs are just, there's no crazy curvatures with them. There's no crazy like blade designs. They're just simple and clean and very usable. And I think from my standpoint, I can really, appreciate that. And I can really attribute that to, what I like to carry and what I like to collect in my own collection. But I got the Esprit in on a trade. I traded my Giant Mouse Ace Grand plus like $20 cash for this from a guy. And I've really enjoyed this knife. It's a great design. It's a great action, or has great action. Lightweight, just kind of a classy yet simple design. And I'm going to probably use simple a lot to design or to describe this knife and some other of Ray's designs. Just because that's how my brain processes them. That's how I think of them. And it's not, like I said, not a bad thing, not in a bad way, because to me that's a good thing, and that's a design in a good way. But jumping right into materials, you guys can see that this is rocking a beautiful marbled carbon show side scale. There is the WE pivot. You can obviously see there are dual thumb studs and a front flipper. I've already showed you Ray's name right there. Frame lock on the lock side with a loop over style deep carry milled pocket clip. Goes to the butt end of the knife that also is sunk into this scale with countersunk screws, which is really nice. You have a lock bar cutout for a little bit of relief. This knife is on bearings. It is rocking a simple drop point with a little bit of a swedge building up top there. If you guys can catch the light, there you go. You might be able to see that. It's obviously DLC coated, 20 CV. The guy I got this from, he was the second owner of the knife, so I am the third owner. I have not carried it and cut with it a ton after like the first week and a half, 2 weeks of this knife that I had in my possession. I carried the crap out of it. But since then I've had a lot of other stuff come in. So I haven't carried it as much since like the first week and a half, 2 weeks. But the guy, I believe the original owner had or put an edge on it, because you guys can see it's definitely a little bit more mirror polished than you would normally get from a factory, which is really nice. But it's in great shape for me being the third owner. The guy I got it from said he didn't carry it much at all. But like I said, it's on bearings. As for internal weight relief, there are no cuts at all, actually, because you have a one scale here being carbon fiber. So it's very, very lightweight. The knife's pretty thin in general too. Not a super thick knife at all. And then on the lock bar side, you do have the cutout there for weight relief, or for relief on the lock bar, but then you have no other cuts at all. And according to White Mountain Knives, which I will leave linked down below to specifically this model if you guys are interested, they have all 5 models, but some are out of stock, which I'll go over at the end of the video. For weight, it is 3.25 ounces, which is a very nice weight for a 3.25-inch blade, so the blade length matches the weight, which is really cool. I love when knives somehow, you know, end up being the same numbers like that. Makes my OCD mind happy. But yeah, it's very lightweight, even without, you know, the internal milling going on. So there's nothing to worry about with carryability and being a heavy pocket knife, which most of Ray's designs are pretty EDC friendly, obviously. But the blade grind is flat. Like I said earlier, it's a pretty thin blade stock. It comes down to a pretty thin edge. And you do have this nice choil or swedge building up top there, which if it catches the light correctly, like I can see it easily because, you know, my lighting is not the best in my room, but it's very nice looking. It adds a nice touch to the blade. But yeah, I think that's all for materials. So we are going to jump into action next. The detent on this knife is really, really nice. It's very snappy, definitely on the stouter side, you know, when it comes to detents. And it makes for a very good thumb flick, middle finger flick, and it works well with the front flipper. Sometimes it's hard to have multiple deployment methods work well with the detent, because a lot of the times in, you know, past cases and stuff like that, and even a lot of videos that I watch from my friends that have different channels, when they get knives in with multiple deployment methods, usually the detent is tuned for one of them and then the other one kind of gets like neglected. But in this case, it works well with everything. So you have the thumb flick, fires right out of there. Very snappy. Middle finger flick also flies right out of there. You can build some nice pressure behind it and then pops right out. And then for the front flip, excuse me, you just gotta, like I've said before in different videos when I've talked about front flipping knives, each front flipper is different because you have obviously different detent, different jimping, you know, different shape of the front flipper. So the biggest thing is once you get used to you know, where to put your thumb, you can really start banging out. But this is pretty simple. You just kind of put it right on the corner right here, build pressure. As I built too much pressure, then it pops out. You guys can see once you get used to it, it's just, you could do it repetitively. This knife has some good acoustics too. It all is kind of hit or miss, but that right there is what I've gotten the most acoustically out of. Like if the knife is, so if you take the knife, it's locked, and you just drop it down a little bit and it's unlocked position, and then you take the thumb stud and go and lock it. I don't know what that does to where, you know, it's only traveling such a small amount of area, but it makes the loudest and snappiest pop. I've definitely annoyed my fiance with this. See, like right there, if I drop it halfway and do it, it doesn't do it. But if I do it this way, it's weird how that does that. Obviously, you're not going to sit there and do this all the time. Like that's not going to be your way of deploying and fidgeting with a knife. But overall, for carbon fiber, normally that's a dampener when it comes to sound, similar to my Carta. But in this situation, I think it works pretty well. You know, you can get some good thunderous snaps and pops. And it's kind of hit or miss. Like I said, it's not very consistent. But, you know, overall, for, you know, in the grand scheme of things, the detent is, or excuse me, yeah, I guess it all, you know, comes back to detent, but the acoustics are pretty dang nice on this knife. But you guys can see, drops to your nail, and you shake it home. So it's not a guillotine from your nail. Like you can sit here and move it around and it's not going to drop, just due to that frame lock having, you know, really nice detent. You can also slow roll it out, but, you know, nobody really likes to do that with these type of knives. So drops to your nail. One thing I will say, it is a little bit tight getting your thumb in there just because of how thin the knife is. You do have a little bit of lock bar cut out, but I would have loved to see maybe a little bit more, so that way you can get maybe like more meat of your thumb up in there. But once you get used to it, it works very well. Just drops to your nail, and most of the time it's just one shake and it's closed, or you can do the minuscule shakes. Works pretty well though. So, you know, all in all, action is fantastic. Great detent, great opening methods, great closing methods. All in all, 10 out of 10 from the action department with the Esprit. But that's going to lead me to my next category of ergos. And this thing fits in my hand really, really well. Like I said in the beginning of the video, This knife is very simple, as are most of Ray's designs, and usually that makes for a really, really good ergonomic experience, just because there's nothing crazy going on. He has nice, clean, simple lines. I mean, as you guys can see, it's a nice, clean, simple. You guys like that? Nice, clean, simple. Drop point blade, and then back here you have a little bit of swelling, and it kind of tapers off towards the end, and here you have a little bit of swelling, and then it, you know, kind of tapers off. But for the most part, it's pretty simple. And there's no choil to choke up with, but that's fine. There is a little bit of jimping right here, but that's due to the front flipper more so than you know, using it, because it's only 3 little pieces of jimping, or notches of jimping, excuse me. So it's not going to really, you know, provide you with much grip if you're choosing to try to use that. But even without the choil, I can still get a really good grip on the blade. This is me choked up about as far as I can go. If you have like 4-year-old fingers, you could probably fit up here and use this as a little bit of choil, but that's more for sharpening, excuse me. But this is choked up as far as I can probably go comfortably in the knife, and you guys can see I still have lots of handle sticking out there, so if I had a, you know, 6 finger, I could stick it on there, but very comfortable. My thumb usually rides up here, anywhere from back here, if I'm kind of choked back, or up here. It's very comfortable. For it being a pretty thin blade stock, I have a nice area to land on, and it feels great in hand. The carbon fiber, again, makes it really lightweight, so that obviously makes the ergos, that factors into the ergo department, makes it much more enjoyable. But titanium is smooth. Now the pot clip does have a little bit of a ramp to it, but really the way it positions into the palm of my hand, you know, it's kind of sticking obviously down into the meat of my fingers right there. I can't feel it at all. I can honestly feel like the back part of the clip a little bit more than the ramp right here, so I don't really have too many issues there. It is righty only carry. I forgot to mention that earlier, so it's not lefty friendly, because you would have had to include a holder lefty clip for this side, and you know, probably would have messed up the carbon fiber. But I've seen WE do that before, so you probably could have done it if you wanted to. But yeah, pinch grip is really good. I love holding a pinch grip. I just put my thumb here on the pivot and my middle finger on the other pivot, and use my pointer finger for, you know, guiding through cuts, through cardboard. You know, if I'm cutting out labels, cutting into letters, packages, stuff like that, it works very, very well. But yeah, just from a, you know, a normal hammer grip and saber grip, this thing feels really good in the hand. You can obviously do a reverse grip if you're going to be doing some 7-Eleven gas station fights with Kevin over a Slurpee. It feels, you know, really good for that. You have a nice kind of pommel area up here to put your thumb if you're going to be, you know, heaven forbid you have to use this in a self-defense manner and you have to stab into something. You can use it there, which is nice, having that added feature. But all in all, you know, ergos are just really good. You know, I feel like I kind of hit all the bases with it. Lightweight, very comfortable in hand, just a really good overall grip for a, you know, a mid-sized knife for me. So ergos are 10 out of 10, 2 thumbs up. Next up is carry, and I've already stated how lightweight the knife is. I've already stated the pot clip goes to the butt end of the knife, so it rides real nice and deep in the pocket, and that, you know, those combine to make this thing carry very, very well. I've only carried this in my front right pocket of my jeans, maybe once or twice in gym shorts around the house, like I typically do with knives. But for the most part, this thing rode front right pocket of my jeans, and it carried very, very well. One thing I do want to note with the ramp of the pot clip is you do have to be careful, because sometimes it might snag on, you know, your coat, something you might brush up against. There was a time, what did I wear? It might have been like a rain jacket over a sweatshirt, and just because this, you know, has so much of a lip, it got caught on it. So that is something I just want you guys to be aware of with this knife. It's great for going in a pocket because you have so much room to, you know, stick the lip over it. But sometimes those are obviously, you know, cumbersome when you're, you know, around things, and you have a, you know, it's at risk more to get caught as it compared to having a flatter ramp. But you know, you take some and you leave some. So it's one of those situations. I just wanted you guys to be aware of it. That was something I kind of found out. Luckily, I didn't lose my knife, or I didn't like completely bend the pot clip out. I was able to catch it before it dropped, which was nice. But sits in the pocket well. You have a nice contour area over here. No flipper tabs, no jimping. So if you happen to have to go, you know, down into here to get medicine, chapstick, coins, change, whatever. You don't have anything to risk, catching on your hands and pulling it up out. So that's very nice. But for being a 3.25-inch knife, which I would consider to be a mid-size knife, it weighs, the ounces are 3.25 as well. So it weighs very, very well compared to its size, and it's gray materials, which make it lightweight. So it provides for a very good carrying experience. But that leads me to the final category of price point and would I recommend this knife. So I can absolutely recommend this knife. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great design, super comfortable in hand. You have great materials with the 20 CV blade. This model obviously has the marbled carbon fiber, and everything is blacked out. So blacked out blade, blacked out hardware, blacked out titanium scale with the lock bar. Just a really fantastic EDC knife. A lot of the times we get so caught up in, all these different cool designs that are coming out. And I feel like it's easy to forget like what just a fantastic EDC knife is. And I tend to maybe try to collect, or not collect necessarily, but I gravitate more towards designs like this that are just simple and clean and have very elegant lines and that are just going to do what you need it to do. For example, one that always sticks out to me that people maybe not necessarily like, but I think the Banner is just a fantastic, no frills EDC knife. That's why I've always kept mine, just because it has, great action, great ergos, great size. And obviously this is, a little bit bigger of a knife than this. And actually it's a decent amount bigger than this, but it just kind of fits in that same category of just being a great, all-around EDC knife. It cuts well, it carries well, has great action, has great ergos. I really don't know what else more you can ask for this knife. Like, to me, this is, other than having a big ramp here on the pot clip, this is pretty much a 10 out of 10 for me. Ray, if you happen to be watching this video, you did a fantastic job on this knife. And I'm definitely on kind of the hunt to check out more of your models. But yeah, so I will leave a link to this right down in the description below. This specific version with the marbled carbon and DLC coated hardware and blade, it is currently in stock on White Mountain Knives, and it goes for $216.75. And there are, excuse me, I said 5 versions earlier, but there's actually 4. There's 5 listings because one of them is a open box return. So there are 4, and actually they just come out with a new one within like the last month. So they have this version. They have the marbled carbon with a gray stone wash. They have a satin finish blade with an orange peel titanium scale. And now they just come out with a bead blasted finish with a tiger ano. Like, if you guys know WE, their tiger anodization that they do. And they all have 20 CV, so they're all, premium materials. And the 2 titanium ones, so the orange peel and the tiger ano, they're $219, and the other marbled with the stone wash is the same price as this, $216.75. So out of those 4, this is in stock, and the new tiger ano is in stock. The other 2 are currently not. But if you guys, are wanting for, looking for one, you can, type in your email, and they will give you notifications when they come back in. But for like the 3rd time, this version will be linked down below. And then if you're looking at other versions, you can obviously, maneuver the site how you will. But yeah, just a fantastic design. I'm really happy to have experienced it. After that full review and such a positive review that I just gave, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. It's just one of those things to where, like I said, I had other stuff coming in, but it's definitely a fantastic knife, and I really, I'm not getting rid of it because I don't like it. It's just, one of those things. Well, what did Kevin say the other day? Like the Way of Knife, he was going to do a video on, I think. He might have already. I'm not sure. I haven't checked out his channel in like 2 days. I've just been busy, so I need to catch up on some of his videos. But you just get rid of stuff to chase other stuff, and that's just how the circle of knife is and the way of knife is. But don't let that take away from me just absolutely enjoying this knife, and for me giving such a positive review, because like I said, it's really a fantastic knife, and I'm super glad that I got to experience it, and I'm still getting to experience it. So guys, this was my full review on the Ray Laconico designed WE Knives Esprit. Just a fantastic, all-around, simple, clean-looking EDC knife. Leave a comment down below. What are your guys' thoughts on the Esprit? Have you handled one? Let me know if you've handled the Sakoki, because like I said, it's basically a budget version of this. I definitely want to check that out as well sometime soon. I've heard a lot of good things about that. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So, and as always, Blue Creek Knives and Barnes Craft Designs are linked down below. Use code 814EDC for 10% off of your purchase at Blue Creek Knives and 15% off of your purchase at Barnes Craft Designs. Helps me, helps you, helps Brian, and helps Holden. It is a win-win-win. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.